Hola amigos, bien o no, y saludos desde Medellín. El tema de hoy en inglés puede expresar the thread of the conversation. Entonces, ¿cuál es el tema en general con una conversación y cómo nosotros podemos seguir este tema general para un tipo de escuchando activo para ayudarnos para entender mejor y participar mejor en sus conversaciones. Y ese es el tema de hoy. So, hello again from Medellin. Have a splendid afternoon here. Very warm today, but a bit cooler now, so not so bad. So the theme of today is practicing, in a sense, a type of active listening when we're having conversations in our new language. But the idea is to follow the thread of the conversation. So this is particularly useful perhaps when we're sat with a group of people who are talking and we're not necessarily participating very actively at the beginning, or maybe someone's talking to us at length, explaining something to us, so we don't have to respond immediately. But it's important not to get lost in what's going on. So when we say follow the thread of the conversation, it's to really listen carefully for the key words, las palabras clave que indican cuál es el tema esencial con esta conversación. So the key words that show us what's this conversation about. And by just listening for those key words, you can filter out some of the other kind of noise of the conversation, but just by keeping track of the key words, when you come to speak or answer the question or offer a comment, you only need to use the last couple of those key words, because that's where you are in the conversation, basically. That's the topic we're talking about. It becomes much easier for you to phrase a response that's relevant. So if you're in a meeting or something and people are talking and there's lots of different conversations going on, as long as you keep note of the key words as they appear, when it's suddenly your time to talk, you're then able to look and go, okay, I know we're talking about this topic. So you can use that last key word as your way to start your conversation, or to start the thing you need to say to get you back into the conversation. So let's say, for instance, you're in a meeting and there's lots of conversations going on, and you're aware that the last thing was something to do with the forecast for the next quarter. Then when it's your turn to speak, Graham, do you have an opinion about that? You say, oh, well, okay, so the forecast. So you're kind of repeating back your key word to get you back in the conversation. Okay, so the forecast. Yeah, okay, talking about the forecast, I would say this. And then you can start answering the question. So this is something to practice. In a way, you can do this listening to things like the TV news, because that's something that moves very quickly. So you might have had the initial headline, and then often they're talking to several people about the main topic. And the idea with that is to see how much of that you can follow while you're listening along, work out what's the key thing they're talking about right now, and if you were to be asked a question, okay, so what's happening now? You could update someone immediately. Okay, look, right now this is what's happening. So that's the theme for today. Practice listening for the thread of the conversation, not necessarily try to understand all of the words or translate the whole thing. Just follow what's the general theme of this conversation, the thread, the key words we're talking about, and use that as a way to make your entry into the conversation a bit easier. So that's our theme for today. Déjame saber en los comentarios, como siempre. And on the subject of the news of the day, I express my deep sadness at the events in Venezuela, and let us hope, finally, a Libertad a nuestros hermanos allá in Venezuela. But that's the idea for today. So from Medellin, we'll say cheerio.